Hey everyone, it's me, Tori, again. I got to my interview today, so that was kind of stressful, but I'm so happy to have connected with Joanne Serda, and she has she/her pronouns, and she is the site supervisor, organizer, big picture stuff. Got wears many hats at this organization. It's a Whittier LGBTQ center, and I have a lot to say, so we'll try and get it done quickly. But let's get into it. Okay, so her roles and responsibilities, as I said, she wears many hats, but here are a few things that she focuses on. She supports the LGBTQ plus community members, coordinates programs, services, donations, activities, and much, much more. She is the one who partners with outside organizations based on the community needs, and she connects people to the resources they need. So, Joanne described her role as supporting members of the community by creating a safe and welcoming environment, which is exactly the kind of thing I'm trying to cultivate, right, in my project. So, her responsibilities include all of these things. And also, something that I didn't put on here was super important is mental health support. And she just really helps to ensure that the center remains inclusive and, you know, really guides people, individuals to the different services that they might need. And if they need, a little extra, then she goes beyond what the center directly provides and tries to find something for that individual. Advocacy style of the leader, direct support of the community, inclusive, community focused, supportive, meaningful, and consistent connections, and resource-based advocacy. So her advocacy style is very like community centered, and it's very relational, and instead of focusing only on like the big picture, large scale policy changes, she focuses on direct support and builds trust within the community. She listens, she creates those safe spaces, and she emphasized that meeting people where they are is something that's very important to help them feel seen and supported. So that aligns exactly with what I am trying to do in my advocacy practices, I guess. Data-driven decision making. Again, community needs, participation requests and end results, feedback from the community and participants, and then overall engagement. So while this organization may not rely heavily on formal data systems, they do use a lot of informal data, such as attendance and participation and direct feedback from the people who are directly involved. And then those insights help them make decisions based on what programs they're going to continue to have, how they'll adjust, how they'll expand. And then this shows that even community-based organizations use data just in a more human-centered way, kind of like the human-centered design that we've all been working on over the last year of our college experience. Joanne mentioned that she adds things to her calendar that's based on requests from participants directly. So for an example, if people petition to have a Dungeons and Dragons night and they get enough signups, then they'll host that event. Someone requests financial advising, she will contact a bank or someone in the field to come and speak to that. So really cool stuff. Learning experience they provide for others. So this is a lot of things that they offer here on all the bullet points. The AANA, SLAA, there's a CMA. There are lots of different programs that I couldn't fit onto all the slides, but I thought these ones were the most important. Not that they're not all important, but you know what I'm saying. So the center does provide learning experiences through these workshops, support groups, community events, and these spaces just allow the individuals to learn about their identity, their mental health, their community resources, and even though the youth is not the primary focus, these expectations could still be, these experiences could still be beneficial for young people who are seeking guidance and looking for support. Okay, assessment and evaluation of learners. Here are the bullet points of how they, assess, but again, it's mostly informal, and the organization evaluates success through the participation, through the feedback, continued engagement, and if people return, engage, and express that they feel supported, then that's considered success, and it reflects kind of everything that they're working towards. Alignment with my advocacy ideas that expands to the youth providing access. It increases awareness, it brings together school-age students and communities, and it creates safe and inclusive spaces. So my advocacy focus is on increasing resources and support for the LGBTQIA+ youth in schools. And although this center doesn't specifically target youth and in schools, it could serve as an important resource, and there's an opportunity there to build stronger connections between the schools and organizations to ensure that students are aware about all the available support systems. And Joanne actually did send me some information and connect me to the LA LGBTQ Center, which really does focus on more of the policy changes. These bullet points right here are how the leader advocates for others. I think that her work is grounded in listening and supporting rather than directing, and this approach will help empower those individuals and help build a stronger sense of community. I have so many thoughts, it's really hard to make all this into a short presentation, but here are my final thoughts. Advocacy is different in practice. Community space is necessary. There are many gaps in the youth engagement. There's a need for stronger connections. For me as an advocate, I need to just continue to give students a voice. I need to make those resources available, and that's going to be the first step in how I can actually make a difference. And also, I can use inclusive language. I can stay informed. And then I just put the website, right? So other people can take a look if they're interested. So I did post my interview here. It's in my Dropbox if you guys want to watch. It's about 20 minutes, but she was awesome. She answered as many questions as she could. I had given her some stuff ahead of time just so she knew what she was walking into in the interview. But, one of my biggest takeaways was that advocacy doesn't always look like policy change, right? It can be as simple as just creating the safe space, which is inevitably all I want to do for these students. So I do realize that there's a gap in the youth engagement, and that's directly my big problem, right? Like, this just reinforces the importance of bridging that gap between schools and community organizations. So last thing I'll say, I originally tried to connect with the San Gabriel Valley LGBTQ Center, and after many, many attempts, and little hope, I learned that their organization is primarily volunteer-based, and they are not staffed. So it made sense, but because of that, communication was really slow or non-existent, and it could take weeks, even up to a month, to hear back from somebody. And so it's kind of wild because while they do offer all these valuable resources, the limited staffing makes it difficult for people to access that in a timely manner, right? And ultimately, that's why I decided to move forward with a different organization for my interview. But honestly, the experience was really eye-opening for me, and I feel that it highlights how many LGBTQIA+ organizations are underfunded, are underrepresented, and that directly impacts accessibility, right? It really helps me better understand my problem and how big it really is, and if it's already difficult for me as an adult to connect with these resources, it makes sense why students struggle even more to find that support, and especially within school settings where, these connections aren't always clearly communicated, or, there's a lot of bias out there. And anyway, so the Whittier LGBTQ Center offers a lot of educational programs and support, but the biggest challenge is awareness, right? These resources exist, but people have to know about them in order to really, get with the program. So the gap between availability and awareness is something I now see as a key area for my advocacy. And I look forward to continue to learn more about this. Thank you, everybody.